how can these insurance policies earn 6 to 8% without stock market losses? Sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, this is how they do it. The insurance companies put most of your money into what we call a general portfolio that looks a lot like this. So most of the money is going to be in bonds, and not just any bonds, high grade bonds. And as a general rule, this policy or this portfolio over time should average around 5%. Obviously, it's based on interest rates. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But as a general rule, over time, this portfolio averages around 5%. Okay? Now, then what they do is they figure out how much do they need to save into this general portfolio at 5% to be able to get your money back. So if you gave them $1,000, they figure out that they might need to save $950 into the general portfolio at 5% or a little better to get you back your $1,000, right? Now, if that's only paying 4 or 6, that will vary some of these numbers. But as a general rule, about 95% of your money every year goes into this portfolio. That means they've got basically the interest on your money that they can be a little bit more aggressive with it and put it into the stock market through purchasing options on an index. An example of an index would be the S&P 500. That's a common index, but there are other indices to choose from as well. This is why they call these index universal life insurance policies, because some of the money, okay, goes into buying options on an index. Now, if you're not familiar with options trading, you could probably watch a YouTube video on it or something like that. But basically, it's like buying a lottery ticket, betting on whether or not the index is going to go up in a year from when you buy that lottery ticket. If the index goes up, your lottery ticket is worth a lot of money because you get to buy that index at today's dollars, when you bought that ticket, right? Now, if the market goes down, if the index goes down, your lottery ticket is not worth anything. Okay? So it's a high return, or you could lose all your money. But you're only losing the interest on your money. You're protecting your principal from year to year. Okay? So on a really good year, your $50 might be worth $100 a year later, if that index went up, okay? $100 plus your $1,000 equals the equivalent of a 10% overall return. So that's how you can get a double-digit return without losing any money. Now, the best I've seen is usually in that low 20% range. Some of our clients can get in those low 20% range, but that's probably on the high end. There is no cap on certain products. Some products have a cap. Some products don't have a cap on how much you can earn. But even the ones who don't have a cap, I would say being able to turn that $50 into $200, that's a 20% return. So in other words, your $1,000 plus your $200 equals $1,200, the equivalent of a 20% return. That's on the high end, okay? So your range is anywhere from 20%, let's say, on the high end, to what happens if the index goes down? You lose your $50. However, you still have your $1,000. That's where your range is. Anywhere from 0, guaranteed to never lose, 0 to maybe, let's say, low 20s on the upside. Okay? It looks a little something like this. When the market drops, you don't lose. When the market shoots up, you might not earn as much on the upside, but would you rather earn 20% on all of your money or 50% on half of your money? Do the math. It might surprise you. Believe it or not, 20% on all of your money is a lot better than 50% on half of your money. Okay? So the key is that you don't lose. And every year it resets. So every year it draws a new line in the sand and it looks at what's happening from year to year. So you don't have to get out of the hole in this IUL, because it draws a new line in the sand every year, and it's that reset that allows the money to always ratchet up instead of trying to make up for those losses. Okay, here's an example of one of our clients that started back in 2007. It was actually April of 2007. And at the time, illustrated was 5.95%. That is what we were illustrating. Okay. However, the market crashed in 2007 and 8, and this client got zeros for 2 years in a row. So they were just under 72,000 instead of almost 79,000, which is what we were projecting. However, in the third year, they got just shy of a 19% return on all of their money, putting them at 127,000. They were only projected to be at 121,000. So they got ahead of schedule in the third year, and they stayed ahead of schedule after that. The average return has been over 6%. Now, what I like the most about this example is they actually got 5 zeros out of the 15 years. That means a third of the time they didn't make any money, but they didn't lose money in the stock market. The average has still been over 6. Now, some of our clients have done better than that. This is one of our worst examples to show you how this works over a 15-year window. As long as you can average better than 5%, then you could have a positive spread on your money. Now, this is one of the companies that we work with that came out with a product in 2006, and they've looked at all of their clients, not just one, all of their clients through the end of 2022. So it's a little bit older than when I'm recording this video, a little bit dated, but just to give you an idea that if you started in 2006, before the recession, 2006, 2007, okay, 2008 in the recession, okay, your average return is going to be around 6% so far. Now, this is not the actual return each year. This is the average return since they started. If you started your policy after the recession and your first year was a really good year, then sure, your average so far has been over 7%. But even if you're in this range, your average return has been in that 7% range. And now most recently, because of the recent market crashes, then we haven't made an average of 6 yet. But again, we're looking at this over the next 20, 30 years of your life. Okay? It's all about looking at this long term. You're guaranteed to be able to borrow the money with this company at 5%. So as long as you do better than 5%, then you've made a positive spread. Here's a little brochure on the fixed 5% loans with optional loan payments. It says in here that there's this annual upfront interest rate that is locked in when you purchase your policy and won't change. So even if you have younger kids, you're guaranteed to be able to borrow the money at 5%, even if it's in 10 years from now. Locked in and won't change, and the rest of your money continues to earn the interest of whatever the index earns. So it could earn 16% one year, it could earn 0 one year, all right? But over time, on average, if you're in that 6% plus, right, then you've got that 1% positive spread, okay?